Let me tell you something. In the next 60 minutes, your life can change. Not next year. Not when you get the right opportunity. Not when somebody finally believes in you. In the next 60 minutes. Because change doesn't start with money. It doesn't start with connections. It doesn't start with luck. It starts with a decision. And decisions, they don't take a lifetime. They take a moment. You've been waiting for the right time, waiting for clarity, waiting for confidence, waiting for permission. But here's the truth. Nobody is coming to tap you on the shoulder and crown you king. Nobody is coming to whisper, "You're ready now." You are either going to decide you matter, or you're going to keep negotiating with your potential. 60 minutes, that's all I'm asking for. Give me 60 minutes of your focus, real focus. No distractions, no excuses, no scrolling, no doubting, and I'll show you something powerful. The power of one decision is underestimated in a world obsessed with long plans and perfect timing. People think transformation is complicated, that it requires a master strategy, a 5-year blueprint, or a dramatic breakthrough moment. But real change happens faster than that. It happens in an instant, in a quiet internal shift, where you draw a line and say, enough. One decision has the authority to interrupt years of excuses. One decision can silence the voice that says, maybe later. The difference between who you are and who you could be is often one bold choice, made without applause, without guarantees, and without fear being fully gone. You don't need to feel ready. You need to decide, because readiness is a myth that keeps people comfortable. Decision is what makes people dangerous to their limitations. The moment you decide that quitting is no longer an option, your posture changes, your focus sharpens, your tolerance for distraction weakens. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop entertaining doubt like it's a house guest. That single internal commitment begins to reorganize your priorities. It shifts how you spend your time, who you listen to, what you accept, and what you reject. And the world responds differently to someone who has decided. Opportunities start to look different. Obstacles start to look smaller. Energy that was once scattered becomes concentrated. All because of one clear, unapologetic decision to move forward no matter what stands in the way. Most people wait for a feeling before they make a decision. They wait to feel confident, certain, fearless, but confidence is not what creates decision. Decision creates confidence. The moment you choose a direction and commit to it, something inside you aligns. Fear doesn't disappear, but it loses authority. Doubt doesn't vanish, but it no longer drives. When you decide, you step into responsibility. You stop blaming circumstances, other people, your past, your lack of resources. You realize that while you may not control everything that happens to you, you absolutely control how you respond. That realization is powerful. It gives you ownership, and ownership is where strength lives. One decision can transform your identity. The person who says, "I'll try," lives differently from the person who says, "I will." Trying leaves room for escape. Commitment burns the bridges behind you. When you decide that your health matters, you no longer debate whether to show up. When you decide that your dream matters, you stop treating it like a hobby. When you decide that your growth matters, you begin protecting your time like it's sacred. The power is not in the complexity of the plan. It is in the firmness of the choice. Once your mind is made up, your behavior follows. And once your behavior shifts, your results cannot remain the same. History is shaped by individuals who made decisions before they felt qualified. They didn't wait for unanimous support or universal approval. They chose to act despite uncertainty. And that is what separates spectators from leaders. A spectator analyzes, critiques, hesitates. A leader decides. A spectator waits for ideal conditions. A leader creates movement in imperfect conditions. The truth is, conditions are rarely perfect. There will always be risk. There will always be unknowns. There will always be reasons to delay. If you make your decision dependent on comfort, you will wait forever. But when you understand that discomfort is the price of expansion, you stop fearing it. You begin to welcome it as evidence that you are stretching beyond your old limits. One decision to embrace growth over comfort can alter the trajectory of your entire life. It can cause you to wake up earlier, study longer, practice harder, speak up louder. Speak up louder. It can cause you to walk away from environments that shrink you and step into rooms that challenge you. That single moment of internal resolve becomes the foundation for everything that follows. It becomes the anchor you return to when motivation fades, because motivation is emotional and emotions change. Decision is intentional, and intention can be renewed daily. The more you honor your decisions with action, the more you build trust in yourself. Self-trust is one of the most valuable assets you can possess, and it is built through decisive action. Every time you decide to follow through instead of backing out, you strengthen your character. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you reinforce the belief that you are reliable. That belief changes how you carry yourself. It changes how you speak. It changes what you attempt. Many people struggle not because they lack talent, but because they have broken too many promises to themselves. They decided to start and then stopped. They decided to commit and then retreated. Over time, that pattern erodes confidence. But the process can be reversed, the same way it was damaged. One decision at a time. Decide to finish what you start. Decide to show up even when no one is watching. Decide to honor your word. As you stack these decisions, you create momentum. Momentum reduces resistance. Tasks that once felt overwhelming become routine. Challenges that once intimidated you become training grounds. The gap between intention and execution begins to shrink. You stop seeing yourself as someone who almost succeeds and start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That identity shift is profound. It influences your standards, and standards determine outcomes. When your standards rise because you have decided they must, your behavior elevates to match them. There is also power in the decision to let go. Not every decision is about starting something new. Some are about ending what no longer serves you. The decision to let go of toxic habits, limiting beliefs, draining relationships, and outdated narratives can feel heavy. But holding on to what weakens you is heavier. Sometimes growth requires subtraction before it requires addition. When you decide that you will no longer tolerate mediocrity from yourself, you begin to examine your patterns honestly. You identify the distractions that steal your focus. You acknowledge the excuses that sound convincing, but lead nowhere. You confront the stories you have told yourself about why you cannot succeed, and then you make a decision to release them. That release creates space. Space for new discipline, space for new thinking, space for new opportunities. One decision to stop doubting your worth can open doors you were too hesitant to knock on before. One decision to stop settling can raise the quality of every area of your life. It takes courage to walk away from what is familiar, even when it is unhealthy. But familiarity is not the same as safety. Growth often feels unfamiliar at first. The decision to step into that unfamiliar space is an act of bravery that redefines what you believe is possible. The power of one decision also lies in its ripple effect. When you decide to elevate your standards, the people around you feel it. Some will be inspired. Others may feel uncomfortable. Not everyone benefits from your growth, but your responsibility is not to maintain comfort for others at the expense of your own potential. Your responsibility is to become the strongest version of yourself. That strength gives permission to others to do the same. When someone sees you commit to your goals with intensity, it challenges their excuses. When someone sees you persist through adversity without folding, it shifts their perception of what endurance looks like. Your decision can influence a room, a team, a family. It can change conversations. It can alter expectations. It can raise the collective standard. Never underestimate how powerful it is to model discipline and courage. You may think your private commitment affects only you, but consistency has a way of becoming visible. Excellence has a way of attracting attention. And leadership often begins with a solitary decision made in silence. The world rarely sees the moment you decided to change, but it will see the results. And those results will speak with authority. Every great transformation story begins long before the visible success. It begins in a quiet moment where someone chose not to give up. That choice may have looked small at the time. It may have seemed insignificant, but it was decisive, it was firm, it was non-negotiable. And because it was non-negotiable, it survived difficulty. Difficulty is the test of every decision. When obstacles appear, they ask a question. Did you mean it? Did you truly decide? Or were you merely hoping? A genuine decision withstands pressure. It adapts but does not retreat. It recalibrates but does not surrender. When you understand this, you stop interpreting challenges as signs to quit. You start interpreting them as confirmation that your decision is being refined. Pressure reveals commitment, and if your commitment is rooted in clarity and conviction, it will not crumble easily. The power of one decision is not that it eliminates hardship, it is that it equips you to endure hardship with purpose. You are no longer drifting, you are directed. You are no longer reacting, you are responding with intention. That shift changes everything about how you experience the journey toward your goals. At any given moment, you are one decision away from a different direction. Not a different dream, not a different personality, but a different direction. Direction determines destination. If you continue deciding to delay, your future will reflect delay. If you continue deciding to doubt, your future will reflect hesitation. But if you decide to act, to commit, to persist, your future will begin aligning with those choices. You do not need to overhaul your entire life in one day. You need to make one firm decision and honor it relentless. Sly, decide that your time matters. Decide that your effort counts. Decide that your potential is not optional. When that decision settles into your spirit, it reshapes your habits, it disciplines your focus, it strengthens your resolve. And as days turn into weeks and weeks and weeks into years, you will look back and realize that everything changed the moment you stopped waiting and chose to move with unwavering determination and absolute belief in your capacity to rise beyond every limitation that once tried to define you. Clarity is a force. It is not soft and it is not passive. It cuts through confusion like a blade. Most people are not stuck because they lack ability. They are stuck because they lack ability. They are stuck because they lack direction. When you do not know exactly what you want, you drift toward whatever is loudest, easiest, or most convenient. You chase trends, you follow opinions, you borrow dreams that do not belong to you. But the moment you get clear, truly clear, about what you want your life to represent, your energy shifts. You stop scattering your effort across 100 distractions. You begin concentrating it on a single target. Clarity eliminates unnecessary debate. It silences the constant internal negotiation about whether you should try, whether you should wait, whether you are good enough. When you know what you want, you stop asking for permission to pursue it. Your standards become defined. Your yes becomes intentional. Your no becomes powerful. Without clarity, even talent feels useless. With clarity, even small effort becomes meaningful. You begin to measure your days differently. Instead of asking, was I busy? You ask, did I move closer to the vision? That question alone can transform your habits. Clarity forces alignment. It demands that your actions reflect your intentions. And when your actions align with your intentions, momentum begins to build in ways that feel alacast. What also most unstoppable. Many people confuse vague desire with clarity. Saying, I want to be successful is not clarity. Saying, I want a better life is not clarity. Those statements are emotional wishes without structure. Clarity is specific. It defines what success means to you. It identifies what success means to you. It identifies what a better life looks like in practical terms. Is it financial independence? Is it physical strength? Is it creative freedom? Is it impact and influence? Until you define it, you cannot pursue it effectively. A target that is unclear cannot be hit consistently. When you define your target, you give your mind something concrete to work toward. Your brain begins to filter opportunities differently. You notice resources you previously ignored. You recognize patterns. You identify gaps in your skills. Clarity sharpens your perception. It transforms the way you interpret obstacles. Instead of seeing a setback as proof that you are incapable, you see it as feedback about what needs adjustment. That shift is powerful. It removes drama from the process. It replaces emotional reaction with strategic thinking. When you are clear, you stop taking every challenge personally. You start evaluating it objectively. And that objectivity keeps you steady. It keeps you focused. It keeps you moving. Even when circumstances are not ideal, because your vision is not emotional chaos. It is intentional direction. Clarity also strengthens discipline. When you know exactly what you are building, distractions lose their appeal. It becomes easier to wake up early when you understand why you are doing it. It becomes easier to decline invitations that do not align with your priorities. It becomes easier to endure temporary discomfort because you can see the long-term reward clearly in your mind. Without clarity, discipline feels like punishment. With clarity, discipline feels like investment. You are no longer sacrificing for nothing. You are investing in something specific. That distinction changes your attitude toward effort. You stop complaining, out the work required. You begin to embrace it as part of the process. Clarity reduces internal conflict. Instead of constantly debating between what feels good now and what benefits you later, you anchor yourself in the bigger picture. The bigger picture guides your daily choices. It reminds you that short-term pleasure is not worth long-term regret. It keeps you grounded when emotions fluctuate, and emotions will fluctuate. Motivation will rise and fall, but clarity remains steady. It acts as a compass. Even when the road becomes confusing, you can look back at your defined direction and recalibrate. That recalibration prevents you from quitting prematurely or drifting into habits that sabotage your progress. One of the most powerful aspects of clarity is how it influences confidence. Confidence is not built from random positive thinking. It is built from knowing who you are and where you are going. When you have clarity about your values, your strengths, and your purpose, you stop trying to imitate others. Comparison loses its grip. You are no longer threatened by someone else's success because you are not competing on their path. You are walking your own. That independence of direction builds quiet confidence. You speak differently when you know what you stand for. You move differently when you know what you refuse to compromise. You present yourself differently when you understand your mission. Clarity removes the desperation to impress. You are no longer performing for approval. You are operating from conviction. That conviction is attractive. It draws opportunities, partnerships, and respect. People trust individuals who are clear, they sense stability, they sense direction, and direction inspires belief. When you believe in your path, others are more likely to believe in it as well. But it begins internally. It begins with you sitting down and defining what truly matters, not what sounds impressive, not what earns applause, what genuinely aligns with your core identity and long-term vision. Clarity demands honesty. It forces you to confront uncomfortable truths about what you truly want and why. Sometimes you discover that the goals you have been chasing were influenced by external pressure, family expectations, social media comparisons, cultural definitions of success. Clarity requires stripping those influences away and asking yourself what fulfills you at a deeper level. That process can be unsettling. It may require letting go of ambitions that once felt important. It may require admitting that you have been pursuing something for the wrong reasons. But that honesty is liberating. When your goals align with your authentic values, effort feels lighter. Not easier, but more meaningful. You no longer feel divided inside. There is no hidden resistance pulling you in another direction. Your mind and your actions move in harmony. That harmony produces momentum. It eliminates wasted energy. You are not fighting yourself anymore. You are advancing with unified focus. Clarity simplifies decisions because your criteria become clear. If an opportunity aligns with your purpose, you consider it. If it does not, you decline it without guilt. That simplicity protects your time and your energy, two of your most valuable resources. In moments of adversity, clarity becomes your anchor. When challenges arise, and they will, you need something deeper than temporary motivation to hold on to. Clear vision provides that stability. When you know exactly why you started, you are less likely to abandon the journey when it becomes difficult. You can remind yourself of the long-term outcome you committed to. That reminder strengthens resilience. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "How does this fit into the grow the required for my goal?" That shift in questioning transforms frustration into learning. It transforms delay into preparation. It transforms struggle into refinement. Clarity allows you to interpret hardship as part of the process rather than proof of failure. It keeps you from making emotional decisions in temporary storms. When others panic, you remain composed because your direction is not determined by circumstance. It is determined by vision. And vision, once defined with conviction, does not disappear simply because the road becomes rough. It adapts, it adjusts, but it does not dissolve. That steadiness sets you apart from those who change direction every time difficulty appears. Clarity also enhances creativity and problem solving. When you know your destination, your mind becomes resourceful in finding pathways to reach it. Constraints become puzzles instead of barriers. You begin asking better questions. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you focus on how to maximize what you have. Clear goals stimulate innovation because your brain searches for alignment between your current position and your desired outcome. You experiment more strategically, you learn more intentionally, you network more purposefully. Every action is filtered through your objective. That focus prevents wasted motion. It increases efficiency. It builds momentum. You stop chasing random opportunities that look attractive but lead nowhere. You start recognizing which opportunities truly accelerate your progress. That discernment is powerful. It protects you from burnout caused by overcommitment to irrelevant tasks. It ensures that your energy is invested where it yields meaningful returns. And as you see measurable progress, your belief strengthens. That belief fuels further action. Momentum compounds. Progress becomes visible, and visible progress reinforces your commitment to the path. You defined with clarity and unwavering determination to stay aligned with your highest priorities. Clarity is not a one-time event, it is a continuous practice. As you grow, your vision may evolve. Your priorities may shift, but the habit of defining your direction remains constant. You revisit your goals, you refine them, you ensure they still align with who you are becoming. That ongoing alignment keeps you proactive rather than reactive. You are not waiting for life to push you, you are intentionally steering. Every day becomes an opportunity to reaffirm what matters. Every decision becomes a reflection of your chosen path. The clearer you are, the stronger your momentum becomes. You waste less time doubting, you waste less energy comparing, you waste fewer years wandering without purpose. Instead, you move with intention. You operate with focus, you build with precision, and that focused movement accumulates into transformation that once seemed distant but becomes increasingly tangible as you continue acting in alignment with the clearly defined vision you chose to pursue with discipline, courage, and relentless consistency. You cannot conquer what you refuse to confront. Most people talk about success, discipline, and growth, but they avoid the one thing that determines whether any of it will happen: facing what's holding them back. It's easy to blame circumstances. It's easy to point at the economy, at your upbringing, at the lack of support, at the timing. But if you are serious about elevation, you must look in the mirror with unfiltered honesty. Because sometimes the obstacle is not out there. Sometimes it's in your habits. Sometimes it's in your thinking. Sometimes it's in your fear of stepping into a bigger version of yourself. Confronting what's holding you back requires courage because it strips away excuses. It forces you to admit that you've tolerated mediocrity. It exposes the comfort zones you've disguised as being realistic. Growth begins the moment you stop protecting your weaknesses and start exposing them to the light. When you name your fear, it loses some of its mystery. When you identify your procrastination, it stops pretending to be perfectionism. When you acknowledge your inconsistency, you stop blaming results. That confrontation may feel uncomfortable, but discomfort is not destruction. It is awareness, and awareness is the first step toward transformation. Fear is often the loudest barrier standing between you and your potential. It doesn't always scream, sometimes it whispers. It tells you to wait until you're more prepared. It tells you to stay quiet so you won't be judged. It tells you to avoid risk so you won't fail publicly. And if you don't confront it, fear begins to sound reasonable. It disguises itself as logic. But logic rooted in insecurity will never lead to greatness. When you confront fear, you must question it. Ask it for evidence. Ask it for proof. Most of the time, fear is built on imagined outcomes rather than actual ones. You haven't failed yet, but you are already rehearsing the embarrassment. You haven't been rejected yet, but you are already internalizing the disappointment. Confronting fear means acting despite its presence. It means understanding that courage is not the absence of fear, but movement in its shadow. The more you face it, the weaker it becomes. Avoidance feeds fear. Action starves it. Each time you take a step forward despite anxiety, you rewire your belief about what you can handle. You expand your tolerance for discomfort. And as your tolerance grows, your world grows with it. Procrastination is another hidden barrier that quietly sabotages progress. It convinces you that you'll start tomorrow, that you work better under pressure, that you just need the ride, that mood. But tomorrow is a dangerous word when it becomes a habit. Every delay reinforces the identity of someone who almost begins. Confronting procrastination requires brutal honesty about how you spend your time. You cannot say you lack opportunity if you waste hours on distractions. You cannot claim you want change while avoiding the effort required to create it. When you confront procrastination, you begin to notice patterns. You see how often you choose comfort over challenge. You see how often you choose comfort over challenge. You recognize how frequently you delay tasks that would actually move you forward. That recognition can sting, but it also empowers, because once you see the pattern, you can interrupt it. You can choose to act before you feel ready. You can set deadlines and honor them. You can train yourself to start even when motivation is low. Discipline grows when you repeatedly confront the impulse to delay and override it with intentional action. That repeated override builds mental strength. It conditions you to move when your old habits would have kept you still. Limiting beliefs are perhaps the most subtle barriers of all. They do not always announce themselves clearly. They operate quietly in the background of your decisions. Beliefs like, I'm not good enough, people like me don't succeed, I'm too late, or I'm not talented enough, shape your behavior without you realizing it. If you believe you are incapable, you will not attempt bold moves. If you believe success is reserved for others, you will unconsciously shrink your ambition. Confronting limiting beliefs requires questioning their origin. Who told you that? When did you decide that was true? What evidence supports it? Often these beliefs were formed in moments of vulnerability, shaped by criticism, failure, or comparison. But just because a belief has been with you for years does not mean it is accurate. When you challenge it, 2, create space for a new narrative. A narrative that says growth is possible. A narrative that says skill can be developed. A narrative that says your past does not dictate your ceiling. Replacing limiting beliefs is not about blind optimism. It is about choosing interpretations that empower action rather than paralyze it. Sometimes what's holding you back is the environment you've grown comfortable in. Surroundings matter. Conversations matter. The people you spend time with influence your standards. If you are constantly around negativity, doubt becomes contagious. If you are surrounded by complacency, ambition feels extreme. Confronting this reality may require difficult decisions. It may require distancing yourself from spaces that shrink your vision. It may require seeking out individuals who challenge you rather than comfort you. Growth rarely happens in environments designed for stagnation. When you elevate your standards, not everyone will understand. Some may resist your change because it exposes their own hesitation. But you must decide whether you are more committed to comfort or to progress. Confronting your environment is not about arrogance. It is about alignment. You need spaces that reinforce discipline, conversations that stimulate growth, and relationships that respect your ambition. Without that alignment, you will constantly swim against a current that pulls you back toward old patterns. Recognizing the influence of your environment empowers you to choose surroundings that support your evolution rather than suppress it. Ego can also be a powerful barrier. It prevents you from admitting weakness. It resists feedback. It protects your pride at the expense of your progress. When ego dominates, you avoid situations where you might look inexperienced. You reject criticism that could refine you. You pretend to know what you still need to learn. Confronting ego requires humility. It requires acknowledging that growth demands correction. You cannot improve in areas you refuse to examine. Feedback is not an attack, it is information. When you detach your identity from your mistakes, you become teachable. And teachable people evolve faster than defensive ones. Confronting ego also means accepting responsibility without excuses. Instead of explaining why something went wrong, you analyze how to improve. That shift accelerates development. You stop wasting energy protecting your image and start investing energy in building your skill. Ego wants to appear strong. Humility builds real strength. Humility builds real strength. The moment you prioritize growth over pride, you unlock a level of advancement that was previously blocked by your own resistance. Comfort is another silent enemy. It feels safe. It feels predictable. But comfort can quietly limit your expansion. When you become too attached to routines that require minimal effort, your capacity begins to shrink. Confronting comfort means intentionally choosing challenge. It means signing up for responsibilities that stretch you. It means pursuing goals that intimidate you. Growth demands friction. Muscles grow through resistance. Character grows through adversity. If your life contains no friction, it likely contains no significant growth. The decision to embrace discomfort transforms your relationship with difficulty. You stop interpreting challenge as punishment. You start seeing it as training. Every difficult conversation strengthens your communication skills. Every demanding project sharpens your discipline. Every setback tests and reinforces your resilience. Confronting comfort requires consistent self-evaluation. Are you coasting or are you climbing? Are you repeating familiar patterns or are you expanding your capacity? Honest answers to these questions keep you from settling into a life that feels easy but lacks depth and fulfillment. When you confront what's holding you back, you reclaim control. You shift from victim to architect. Instead of waiting for external change, you initiate internal change. That internal shift influences everything else. You begin to respond differently to stress. You begin to approach opportunities with greater boldness. You begin to hold yourself accountable with greater consistency. The barriers that once seemed overwhelming shrink when examined directly. They lose power when exposed. And as you systematically address them, fear, procrastination, limiting beliefs, environment, ego, comfort, you construct a stronger foundation. You are no longer operating unconsciously. You are choosing intentionally. That intentional living produces measurable results. It sharpens your focus. It elevates your standards. It deepens your resilience. It deepens your resilience. And as each barrier is confronted and reduced, you step into a version of yourself that is more disciplined, more self-aware, and more capable of executing at a level that once felt out of reach. Small actions are often dismissed because they lack drama. They don't make headlines. They don't attract applause. They don't feel heroic. But small actions, repeated consistently, carry a force that is far more powerful than occasional bursts of intensity. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can accomplish in a year of disciplined effort. They wait for the perfect moment to make a massive move, believing that transformation must be loud and immediate. In reality, it is quiet and incremental. It is choosing to wake up 30 minutes earlier. It is reading 10 pages instead of scrolling for an hour. It is practicing your craft when no one is watching. These actions may feel insignificant in isolation, but they are seeds, and seeds, when nurtured, grow into forests. The challenge is that small actions require patience. They require faith in the process. You may not see visible change after one workout, one study session, one difficult conversation, but the accumulation is happening beneath the surface. Discipline compounds, effort compounds, focus compounds. And when that compounding reaches a threshold, the results appear almost suddenly, even though they were built gradually through daily commitment to simple, repeatable behaviors. Consistency is what transforms small actions into significant outcomes. One healthy meal will not change your body. One day of focused work will not build a business. One honest conversation will not repair every relationship. But when those actions are repeated daily, weekly, monthly, they begin to reshape your identity. And identity is the foundation of lasting change. When you consistently act in alignment with your goals, you stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying. You begin to see yourself as someone who is disciplined. That identity shift strengthens your commitment. You no longer rely on motivation because your behavior has become part of who you are. Small actions reduce overwhelm because they focus on what is controllable today. Instead of obsessing over a distant outcome, you concentrate on the next step. That focus makes progress sustainable. It prevents burnout caused by unrealistic expectations. When you understand that mastery is built through repetition, you stop chasing shortcuts. You embrace routine. You find pride in incremental improvement. And incremental improvement, sustained over time, creates results that appear extraordinary to those who only see the final stage and not the disciplined effort that built it. Small actions also build momentum. Momentum is powerful because it reduces resistance. The hardest part of any task is often starting. Once you begin, continuation becomes easier. By committing to small, manageable steps, you lower the barrier to entry. You tell yourself, just 5 minutes, just one page, just one call. And often those 5 minutes turn into 30. That one page turns into 30. That single call leads to an opportunity. The simplicity of the action makes it accessible. Accessibility increases frequency. Frequency builds familiarity, and familiarity builds confidence. Each completed action reinforces your belief that you are capable of progress. That belief fuels further effort. It becomes a cycle. Action strengthens confidence. Confidence encourages more action. Over time, that cycle accelerates. Tasks that once felt intimidating become routine. Skills that once seemed advanced become second nature. What started as a small commitment evolves into a powerful rhythm. And rhythm sustains performance. It keeps you moving even when enthusiasm fluctuates. Because once momentum is established, stopping feels harder than continuing. There is also a psychological advantage to small actions. They create visible wins. Large goals can feel distant and abstract. When the finish line appears far away, discouragement can creep in, but small actions produce immediate evidence of progress. Crossing off a completed task, finishing a workout, submitting a proposal. These wins may be modest, but they matter. They remind you that you are not stagnant. They show you that forward movement is happening. That evidence strengthens resilience. Instead of feeling stuck, you feel engaged. Instead of feeling powerless, you feel proactive. Small wins accumulate into confidence. And confidence reduces hesitation. You begin to approach challenges with a mindset shaped by repeated success, even if those successes were incremental. This steady accumulation of small victories changes your emotional relationship with effort. Work no longer feels like an endless grind. It feels like a series of achievable steps. Each step brings you closer to your objective, and that proximity fuels persistence. Because progress, even slow progress, is motivating when you can see it and measure it through deliberate daily action. Small actions demand humility. They require you to accept that greatness is built through fundamentals. It is not glamorous to practice the basics repeatedly. It is not exciting to refine simple techniques. But excellence is often the result of mastering what others consider boring. The athlete who practices footwork daily, the writer who commits to a word count regardless of inspiration, the entrepreneur who consistently reviews data and adjusts strategy. These small disciplines separate amateurs from professionals. When you commit to fundamentals, you strengthen your foundation. A strong foundation supports expansion. Without it, rapid growth can collapse under pressure. Small actions reinforce structure. They ensure that when opportunity arrives, you are prepared. Preparation is rarely dramatic. It is repetitive. It is intentional. It is steady. But that steadiness builds capacity, and capacity determines how much success you can sustain. By focusing on small improvements, you avoid the instability that comes from chasing rapid, unsustainable gains. You develop depth rather than surface-level achievement. That depth provides durability in competitive and unpredictable environments. Another powerful aspect of small actions is their adaptability. Life is unpredictable. Schedules shift, responsibilities increase. Energy fluctuates. If your progress depends on perfect conditions, it will stall frequently. But small actions can fit into imperfect days. Even in chaos, you can find 15 minutes to improve. Even during stress, you can choose one disciplined decision. That flexibility ensures continuity. Continuity is critical for long-term success. Missing one massive opportunity may not ruin your journey, but consistently missing small, daily opportunities will erode it. Small actions are resilient. They survive busy seasons. They adapt to constraints. They allow you to maintain momentum, even when circumstances are not ideal. That reliability keeps your growth steady. Instead of starting and stopping repeatedly, you maintain a baseline of progress. Not better. That baseline compounds. Over time, the gap between you and those who rely solely on bursts of effort widens. Because while they pause and restart, you continue moving forward in manageable, deliberate increments. Small actions also sharpen focus. When you commit to manageable tasks, you are less likely to become distracted by complexity. You know exactly what needs to be done today. That clarity reduces mental clutter. It allows you to concentrate fully on execution rather than worrying about distant uncertainties. Focused execution improves quality. Improved quality enhances results. When each small action is performed with intention, it becomes meaningful. You are not rushing through tasks to check them off. You are refining skill with each repetition. That refinement builds expertise. Expertise creates value, and value attracts opportunity. The simplicity of small actions does not diminish their impact. It enhances it, because simplicity increases consistency, and consistency is the engine of transformation. The disciplined repetition of focused effort shapes your habits. Habits shape your identity. Identity shapes your future. By narrowing your attention to what can be done now, you eliminate paralysis caused by overthinking. You become action-oriented. You train your mind to prioritize execution over speculation. Over months and years, the cumulative effect of small actions becomes undeniable. What once required intense effort becomes routine. What once seemed impossible becomes achievable. People may look at your success and assume it was sudden. They may attribute it to luck or talent, but you will know the truth. You will remember the early mornings, the repeated drills, the consistent learning, the disciplined choices made when no one was watching. You will understand that each small action was a brick, and brick by brick, you constructed something solid. The transformation was not a single leap, it was thousands of steps, each one deliberate, each one intentional, each one aligned with a vision that guided your persistence. That steady accumulation creates not only external results, but internal strength. You become patient, you become disciplined. And with those qualities reinforced daily, through consistent small actions, you position yourself to handle greater challenges, greater responsibilities, and greater opportunities with unwavering focus and sustained excellence. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine, and too many people build their dreams on sparks. They wait to feel inspired before they begin. They wait for the right mood, the right playlist, the right weather, the right emotional surge that makes action feel effortless. But feelings are unstable. They rise and fall with sleep, stress, environment, and circumstance. If your progress depends on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline, on the other hand, does not ask how you feel. It asks what must be done. It operates beyond emotion. It understands that greatness is not built on excitement, but on execution. The problem with motivation is that it feels powerful in the moment. It convinces you that this time will be different, that this time you will change everything overnight. But when the excitement fades, so does the effort. Discipline is different. It is quieter. It is less glamorous. It does not make bold promises. It simply shows up. It repeats. It commits. It commits. When you choose discipline over motivation, you stop negotiating with your responsibilities. You stop asking whether you are in the mood to train, to study, to build, to improve. You understand that mood is irrelevant. The standard remains the same whether you feel energized or exhausted. And that consistency is what separates temporary enthusiasm from lasting transformation. Discipline begins with structure. It requires you to design your environment in a way that supports your goals rather than sabotages them. Motivation says, I hope I make the right choice today. Discipline says, I've removed unnecessary temptations. It is easier to stay focused when distractions are limited. It is easier to train when your schedule is planned. It is easier to work when your priorities are clear. Discipline does not rely on willpower alone. It relies on preparation. It anticipates weakness and builds safeguards. It sets alarms. It creates routines. It defines boundaries. When you build structure into your life, you reduce decision fatigue. You don't have to debate every action. You already decided in advance who you are and what you do. That pre-decision strengthens your follow-through. It eliminates the daily argument between comfort and commitment. Instead of waking up and wondering whether you should train, you train because that is what disciplined people do. Instead of questioning whether you should invest time in learning, you learn because growth is scheduled. Structure transforms intention into habit, and habit reduces reliance on emotion. The more you repeat structured behaviors, the less energy it takes to execute them. Discipline becomes automatic, and when execution becomes automatic, progress becomes consistent. Choosing discipline also means embracing discomfort as part of the process. Motivation often disappears the moment discomfort appears. The workout feels too hard, the project feels too complex. The results feel too slow. Without discipline, those moments become exit points. With discipline, they become checkpoints. You expect discomfort. You understand that growth demands resistance. Muscles do not strengthen without strain. Skills do not sharpen without repetition. Character does not deepen without challenge. Discipline reframes pain. It does not see difficulty as a signal to quit. It sees it as evidence that you are pushing beyond previous limits. When you adopt this mindset, you stop being surprised by obstacles. You prepare for them. You develop mental endurance. You learn to act even when enthusiasm is absent. That is where true strength is built. Anyone can perform when conditions are ideal. Discipline proves itself when conditions are inconvenient. When you are tired but you show up. When you are discouraged but you continue. When progress feels invisible but you persist. Those moments define your trajectory. They build resilience that motivation alone could never sustain. Because resilience is not emotional, it is intentional. It is trained through repeated decisions to continue despite temporary discomfort. Discipline strengthens identity. When you repeatedly follow through on commitments, you begin to see yourself differently. You stop identifying as someone who tries and start identifying as someone who executes. That identity shift changes your internal dialogue. Instead of saying, I hope I can, you say, I will. Instead of doubting your consistency, you trust it. Self-trust is earned through disciplined action. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are reliable. That reliability becomes a source of confidence. You no longer need external validation to confirm your progress. You know what you are doing behind the scenes. You know the effort you are investing daily. And that knowledge grounds you. Discipline also raises your standards. Once you become accustomed to consistent effort, mediocrity feels uncomfortable. Sloppiness becomes unacceptable. Excuses become transparent. You hold yourself accountable at a higher level. That elevation in standards impacts every area of your life. Relationships improve because you communicate consistently. Finances improve because you manage them intentionally. Health improve because you maintain routine. Discipline is not limited to one domain. It is a mindset that permeates everything. It creates order where there was once chaos. It builds credibility within yourself that no external reward can replicate. There will be days when motivation is nowhere to be found. Days when you question your progress. Days when comparison creeps in and whispers that others are ahead. Discipline carries you through those days. It reminds you that consistency compounds even when results are not immediately visible. You may not see dramatic change in a week or a month, but disciplined effort accumulates quietly. Like water shaping stone, it works gradually yet persistently. Over time, the impact becomes undeniable. The challenge is patience. Motivation seeks instant gratification. Discipline understands delayed reward. It is willing to invest today for outcomes that may take months or years to materialize. That long-term perspective is powerful. It protects you from impulsive decisions. It keeps you anchored when short-term results fluctuate. When you trust the process, you are less likely to abandon it prematurely. Discipline trains you to measure progress and commitment, not just in outcomes. Did you show up? Did you execute? Did you honor your standard? If the answer is yes, you are building momentum regardless of what the scoreboard currently displays. Another critical aspect of discipline is emotional regulation. When you operate solely on motivation, your emotions dictate your performance. If you feel confident, you act boldly. If you feel insecure, you hesitate. If you feel excited, you work intensely. If you feel bored, you disengage. Discipline stabilizes this volatility. It teaches you to separate emotion from action. You acknowledge how you feel, but you do not allow it to control your behavior. This emotional maturity strengthens leadership, productivity, and personal growth. You become dependable. Others can rely on you because your output does not fluctuate wildly with your mood. Stability is powerful. In a world driven by distraction and emotional reaction, disciplined individuals stand out. They are steady, they are focused, they are consistent. That consistency builds reputation. It builds trust, it builds opportunity. Emotional control also protects your mental energy. Instead of being exhausted by constant internal battles about whether to act, you simplify the process. The standard is set, the work is done. Feelings are acknowledged but not obeyed. That clarity conserves energy for meaningful execution. Discipline also requires sacrifice. You cannot say yes to everything. You cannot prioritize every opportunity. You must choose what aligns with your vision and decline what distracts from it. Motivation often says yes to what feels good in the moment. Discipline says no to what undermines long-term goals. That restraint is powerful. It protects your focus. It safeguards your time. It prevents dilution of effort. Every yes carries a cost. Every distraction consumes energy that could be invested elsewhere. Discipline evaluates choices through the lens of alignment. Does this move me closer to my objective? Does this reinforce the person I am becoming? If not, it is declined without guilt. Sacrifice is not deprivation, it is strategic focus. By narrowing your priorities, you amplify your effectiveness. You channel your resources toward what matters most. That concentration accelerates growth. It sharpens expertise. It deepens mastery. And while others may chase novelty, disciplined individuals build depth. Depth creates durability. Durability sustains success long after excitement fades. Over time, discipline becomes freedom. At first, it may feel restrictive. It may feel rigid. It may feel demanding. But as habits solidify and results emerge, you realize that discipline has expanded your options rather than limited them. Financial discipline creates economic flexibility. Physical discipline creates energy and strength. Mental discipline creates clarity and focus. Relational discipline creates trust and stability. The structure that once felt strict becomes the foundation for opportunity. You are no longer controlled by impulse. You are no longer trapped in cycles of inconsistency. You operate with intention. You move with purpose. And that purposeful movement builds a life that is not dependent on fleeting bursts of inspiration. It is built on repeated execution, on daily commitment, on unwavering standards. Discipline outlasts motivation. It outperforms emotion. It outperforms emotion. It endures when excitement fades, and through that endures, it constructs a version of you that is resilient, reliable, focused, and capable of achieving results that once seemed distant but become inevitable through sustained, disciplined action, repeated without compromise or hesitation. There is a dangerous comfort in the word someday. Someday I'll start the business. Someday I'll write the book. Someday I'll get in shape. Someday I'll have that difficult conversation. Someday feels safe because it carries no immediate responsibility. It allows you to dream without demanding action, but someday is a mirage. It promises opportunity while quietly stealing time. The truth is that life responds to now, it responds to movement, to commitment, to decisive action taken in the present moment. When you delay action, you train yourself to tolerate stagnation. You reinforce the habit of postponement, and habits once reinforced become identity. If you repeatedly choose later over now, you begin to see yourself as someone who waits. Waiting becomes comfortable. Hesitation becomes normal. But growth does not live in hesitation. It lives in execution. The present moment is the only point of control you truly possess. Yesterday is fixed. Tomorrow is uncertain. Now is power. When you understand that, urgency replaces procrastination. not panic, but purposeful urgency. The recognition that time is not guaranteed shifts your perspective. You stop assuming that opportunity will always be available. You begin to treat each day as an asset that must be invested wisely. Starting now eliminates overthinking. When you postpone action, your mind fills the gap with scenarios, doubts, and exaggerated risks. The project grows larger in your imagination than it is in reality. The conversation feels more intimidating. The task feels more complex. Delay magnifies fear. Action reduces it. The moment you begin, even imperfectly, you interrupt the cycle of analysis paralysis. You gather real feedback instead of imagined outcomes. You learn through experience instead of speculation. Progress clarifies what planning alone cannot. Many people wait for certainty before they act, but certainty often comes after the first step, not before. By starting now, you allow momentum to replace anxiety. Even small action creates evidence that you are capable of movement. That evidence strengthens confidence. It proves that you are not stuck. You are simply paused, and pause is a choice. Once you recognize that movement is also a choice, you reclaim control. You stop asking whether conditions are ideal. You begin asking what can be done with the conditions available. That shift from passive to proactive thinking transforms your daily behavior. There will never be a perfect moment. There will always be responsibilities, distractions, unexpected challenges. If you wait for everything to align flawlessly, you will wait indefinitely. Starting now means accepting imperfection. It means understanding that progress is built in messy environments. You may not feel fully prepared. You may not have every resource. You may not possess complete clarity. But readiness is often developed through action, not before it. Skill improves through repetition. Confidence grows through experience. Resources expand through initiative. When you act despite incomplete preparation, you accelerate growth. You expose yourself to learning opportunities that planning alone cannot provide. Delaying until you feel ready keeps you in theory. Starting now moves you into practice. Practice refines, practice strengthens, practice reveals, strengthens weaknesses that can be addressed. Every day you postpone is a day without practice. And without practice, potential remains dormant. Starting now is an act of courage because it accepts vulnerability. It acknowledges that mistakes may occur, but mistakes are teachers. Inaction teaches nothing except regret. Regret is heavy. It accumulates quietly over time. It is built from conversations not had, risks not taken, opportunities ignored. Many people reach a point where they look back and realize that the cost of waiting was far greater than the risk of starting. Time moves regardless of your decision. The months will pass, the years will pass. The question is whether you will advance with them or remain stationary while they move forward without you. Starting now protects you from the burden of wondering what might have been. It ensures that you are actively shaping your future rather than passively observing it. Even if the first attempt does not produce the desired outcome, it produces growth. Growth compounds, experience accumulates. Each attempt builds skill and resilience. Waiting builds nothing except hesitation. The longer you delay, the heavier the first step feels. But the moment you take it, you realize it was lighter than your imagination suggested. Action simplifies what fear complicates. It transforms uncertainty into learning. Starting now also builds discipline. When you train yourself to act immediately on important goals, you weaken the habit of delay. You create a pattern of responsiveness. You think of an idea and you outline it. You identify a weakness and you address it. You set a goal and you take the first step that same day. That immediacy creates momentum. Momentum strengthens identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who executes. That identity fuels further action. Instead of debating whether to begin, beginning becomes automatic. This reduces internal conflict. You conserve mental energy because you are not constantly negotiating with yourself. The decision is simple. If it matters, it starts now. That clarity enhances productivity. It sharpens focus. It builds consistency. Discipline is reinforced each time you override the impulse to delay. Over time, the gap between intention and execution shrinks. You become aligned. Your words match your actions. Your goals match your habits. That alignment accelerates progress in every area of life. Fear of failure often fuels delay. You may hesitate because starting exposes you to the possibility of falling short. But failure is information. It reveals what needs refinement. It exposes gaps in strategy. It strengthens resilience. Avoiding action does not eliminate failure. It guarantees stagnation. When you start now, you engage in a process of continuous improvement. Each setback becomes data. Each challenge becomes training. Instead of protecting your ego by waiting, you strengthen your capacity by doing. Growth demands exposure. It requires stepping into situations where you are not yet an expert. That discomfort is temporary. The skill you gain is lasting. Starting now accelerates that skill acquisition. It compresses the timeline between beginner and proficient. It transforms abstract ambition into tangible effort. Even imperfect effort produces momentum. And momentum, once established, becomes self-reinforcing. You begin to trust your ability to adapt. That trust reduces fear. The more you act, the less intimidating action becomes. Opportunities favor those in motion. When you are actively building, learning, and improving, you are positioned to recognize and seize openings that others overlook. Waiting keeps you on the sidelines. Movement places you in the game. Connections form through action. Experience grows through engagement. Visibility increases through participation. Starting now signals seriousness. It communicates commitment to yourself and to others. That signal attracts collaboration and support. People are drawn to those who move decisively. They invest in those who invest in themselves. By contrast, chronic delay communicates uncertainty. It erodes credibility. If you repeatedly postpone your own goals, others may hesitate to believe in your dedication. Starting now establishes a pattern of reliability. It shows that you honor your ambitions with effort, that reputation compounds. It opens doors that hesitation would keep closed. Every day of action strengthens your foundation. Every day of delay weakens momentum before it even begins. The present moment is where transformation is born. Not in elaborate plans drafted for a future that may never arrive, but an immediate commitment to the next step. Starting now does not require perfection, it requires decision. It requires courage to act despite incomplete certainty. It requires willingness to learn publicly and adjust privately. Each time you choose now over someday, you strengthen your character. You reinforce urgency. You reduce regret. You accumulate experience. You build discipline. You expand confidence. And as days stack upon days of immediate execution, you begin to see a shift. Progress becomes visible. Skills sharpen. Opportunities expand. The life that once felt distant begins to take shape through repeated present moment decisions to act without delay, without excuse, and without surrendering to the illusion that time will always wait for you to finally begin, because it can, and it will. But only if you move. So don't clap, don't nod, don't wait. Take the first step need the next 60 minutes, and don't stop when the hour ends. Start now. Your new life is waiting.